So this week I thought I would take just a few minutes just to talk about something very new that you've probably all seen somewhere, everywhere, television, advertisement, billboards, shops, internet, everywhere, and that is of course the Nintendo Switch, which has finally been released. I mean, I say finally, it came here pretty damn quickly. I mean, announced in December, fully unveiled in January, out by March. That's pretty quick by any console standards. I've had this now I'm recording this on a Tuesday, I've had it since Friday. I was hoping to do a bit more of this, maybe in terms of some streaming, but my Switch console arrived pretty late in the evening, so I didn't really get a chance to play around with it as much as I would have liked that day, and I figured, well, it was so late, I figured I'll leave it and I'll sort of have it for a few days and collect my thoughts, which is exactly what I'm doing now. As for the console itself, it's both bigger and smaller than what I would have thought it would have been. It's quite wide actually for any sort of console, but it's very lightweight, which I'm very surprised about. The controls are quite small, but for me very comfortable. My preferred way of playing at the moment is I've sort of just been playing games with the Joy-Cons, one in each hand. I haven't even been bothering putting in the dock, to be honest, because I just find it much more comfortable without sort of, you're not constrained to having your kind of hands in front of you. I can just sort of put my hands anywhere. I can sit back on the sofa and just kind of sort of lie there, kind of vegetative, playing video games with one of these in each hand, and that's been my preferred way. But the device itself, it's pretty nice. I love the screen on this. I mean, it's such a nice. It's such a nice quality screen. It's nice and sharp, nice and bright, back up in full brightness. I haven't done too much of playing it away from the television. I've sort of mainly been playing it in front of the TV since I got it. It's only been today where I've sort of actually started to take it out and actually play it properly. It's been a lot of fun, but playing it on the TV's been my main thing at the moment. What have I been playing on it? I guess, like most people, I've been playing a hell of a lot of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I've put a serious amount of time in that in such a short time. It's because it's such a phenomenal game. It's pretty much everything I could ever possibly want from a Zelda release, and that's pretty much an endorsement in my opinion. I love Zelda games, but after 30 years now with very similar mechanics, very similar gameplay progression, it seems to have been the same sort of gameplay progression since Link to the Past on the SNES. And it's nice for them to finally break away from that in such a big way. It's very unusual for a Zelda game. The open world structure suits it so entirely well, and what I like best about it is there's no hand holding whatsoever. There's a few little messages that tell you what the buttons are, a few little almost these kind of mini dungeons called shrines, which give you a sort of tutorial by playing basically, and that sort of works very, very well in sort of holding you by the hand ever so loosely and then just sort of letting you get on with it. The fact that you can get on with things in this gigantic world, you're not given a set path to go down, you can just go wherever you want to. It works so well for a Zelda game, and as such it's been very enjoyable so far. But yeah, Zelda is absolutely amazing. I'm still trying to get used to the idea of not having sort of hearts and rupees by swiping and cutting down bushes. The fact that you've got to sort of cook food or sell things and find rupees and treasure chests and for the occasional enemy. It's not handing you anything on a platter, but it's a nice little structure, sort of making yourself more powerful by going to the different shrines. If you do 4 shrines to get the orbs from them, you can use them to sort of give yourself an extra heart container piece or some extra stamina for running, climbing and things like that. But it's very difficult for a Zelda game, which is kind of good for someone that's played so many of them. It's been pretty cool for that. I can imagine it's not so easy for newcomers. I'd imagine if I stuck someone in front of it that maybe never played a Zelda game before, maybe they wouldn't struggle, but it's such a departure from any Zelda game. It's absolutely great, absolutely phenomenal, and I've been loving it. As for other games, I've been playing Sniff Eclipse, which is an eShop digital release, and you can get it in a bundle with 2 Joy-Cons as well, and for a slightly cheaper price. But it's a really good eShop game. It's about $17.99 on there, and it's a really lovely co-op game that I've been playing with my wife. It's like a puzzle game where you have these two little characters, and what you're doing is you can do these set shapes, and you can overlap each other to cut each other into different shapes to form different puzzles. Some of them are straight up, this is a shape on the screen like a heart, and you've got to cut yourself so that you can overlap that heart and fit in that sort of dotted line of that heart. You've got certain levels where you have a basketball that you've got to get into a hoop somehow, so you sort of got to cut yourself into a little kind of bucket so you can carry this ball and sort of stand on each other's shoulders and get it into the hoop. It's all sorts of stuff like that, and it's such a really unique puzzle game that I don't think enough people are shouting about, because it's such a good game, a really good co-op experience, and very unique to the Switch. A nice little indie game that's been picked up by Nintendo and turned into this very Nintendo experience as a launch day release. And the fact that it's not a physical release means it's sort of like it's very easy for it to get lost in the shuffle, and I hope that doesn't actually happen. The other retail game I did get was 1-2 Switch, which, yes, it's a glorified mini game collection, and as such there isn't that much depth into it, but I must admit I kind of got it just because I wanted to. It uses a lot of the features that the Switch has that other games don't, such as the HD Rumble feature. And HD Rumble is just incredible. It's one of those sort of magic things where you don't know how they did it. In 1-2 Switch there is a game where you're sort of like using each Joy-Con as like a box, and you're told that there are marbles in this box, and you have to tell how many marbles there are by sort of slowly moving the box around to sort of feel where the balls are, and you can actually feel the balls rolling up and down this sort of imaginary box. And it takes you a while for your sort of head to figure out that that's actually happening, because you're not used to Rumble being used for anything more than on or off, or being soft, not a Rumble that's sort of moving around your hand. It's utterly strange, but that's probably the highlight of 1-2 Switch. There are a couple of odd, funny little games. The quick draw game is quite hilarious, but the thing is with 1-2 Switch, I'm played all the games yet. I haven't had too much time into that because we've been playing everything else, but I can see some people maybe trading in pretty quickly, especially when some of the bigger games come out like Mario Kart 8 and Splatoon 2 and things like that. But it's a decent little demo of the Switch's capabilities in terms of hardware, but it's just a shame that it's not a pack-in, it's not like a Wii Sports thing, because it would have been perfect. As a retail game, it's not the best game, but it was worth getting just to see what it was like. The only other game I got was the Shovel Knight Treasure Trove Collection, which is sort of almost like a definitive edition of Shovel Knight with all the DLC and things like that. And it's Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is great. The co-op mode that was previously exclusive to the Wii U mode is still good, still lots of fun. Been playing that with my wife. Very, very enjoyable. But that's a good few games. People are moaning about how few games there are for the Switch, but one massively awesome retail game and a couple of interesting eShop releases. That's pretty good. I mean, you have Zelda. What more do you honestly need if you're a hardcore Nintendo fan? If you're hardcore enough to get a Switch day one, you're probably getting it for Zelda, and that's going to last you a very, very long time, at least until Mario Kart comes out, which is April the 28th, I think it is. So there's a lot of time to get some Zelda time in before that happens, and I'm sure there's going to be lots more digital stuff coming out leading up to that. But my first few days with the Switch have been positive. I've finally got a screen protector on here today, just because I've heard so many horror stories about these screens being scratched when you put them into the dock. Which often I tend to put screen protectors on all my stuff anyway, but in this one I had to sort of stop myself from taking it in and out the dock before I got the screen protector, because I didn't want to risk scratching anything, because that's always a concern with any screen device these days. But yeah, I love my Switch. It's lots of fun. I'm looking forward to some more games coming out there, because I know that eventually I will finish Zelda, and I'll be sad about it, but hopefully there'll be some more things on the way. But great little system so far. If you're interested in getting a Switch, you've probably already pre-ordered and got one. But if you're watching this and you're sort of interested in getting one, I think it's if you like Zelda at the moment, then get it. If you're not interested in any of the games that are there now, maybe wait a little while. There's a few games on the way that might be of interest to you. There's the remake of the brilliant Wii U game Lego City Undercover, which is coming to Switch and has a co-op mode, so that should be a hell of a lot of fun. That's coming sometime in the next, I think, the start of April. Obviously, there's Mario Kart 8 that I've mentioned, Splatoon 2, plenty of other digital games coming out. Hopefully, some Virtual Console stuff soon, because that's been sadly missing. Although I don't tend to worry about Virtual Console stuff these days, it's sort of nice to have it there in case, because sometimes they do release some pretty cool games. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about the Switch. Normal service will be resumed next week with some more retro videos probably, and I'll just leave it there. So thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next week for some more gaming fun.